real sense of disillusionment that young men in the West are feeling by blaming it all on Andrew friggin'
Yeah, no, because of like you, because you're continuously screaming this shit. If all day you're like, all countries under attack, we can't even be white anymore, or male. Like, obviously people who are watching that are gonna be like, whoa, what? I didn't know that. I was just buying some strawberries. I don't know if there's any British people watching me right now. If there is, does anyone in Britain actually care about and or talk about Paul Joseph Watson? Is he even like known there? Because he kind of seems like a footnote pundit these days. Like, he's rarely making as many waves as he was at like the peak. He's kind of fallen off. But that just could be, again, an outsider perspective. Right here, 100% fucking not. I only know about him from leftist Twitch. Is that it? He doesn't even make it near the zeitgeist? Because he's not even making it near the zeitgeist anymore on the right. This may be one of my close to last Paul Joseph Watson videos then, because I don't even know if he's worth covering anymore. If he's as relevant as dust and doesn't get like the clicks. The only reason we're doing this one is, holy shit, is there ever a funny reveal at the end of this one? I'm gonna give a shout out to Mother Merrick for her discovery. I don't know where she's keeping all these receipts. She seems to be like a receipt queen these days. But anyways, she drops fucking heavy ass receipts on Paul Joseph Watson. I gotta upload it to the Serfs Ghoulery. If you have clips or receipts of ghouls, please upload them to reddit.com/r/theserfstv. That's the Serfs Ghoulery, where we post all the receipts of these ghouls.
How on earth would we cope without our scapegoats? How teachers are re-educating boys brainwashed by Andrew Tate. Yeah, unfortunate choice of phrase there.
This is new, by the way. I'm not on 125. Wow.
Since re-education is literally the same as brainwashing. Normally done against someone's will. No, it's only okay when left-wing teachers are brainwashing your kids. This.
Oh my god, but there's nothing worse you could have found. This is the worst clip. This is the damning clip where people are supposed to be like, oh, what? Refracted light, rainbows everywhere. Let's slow this down. I want to see just how bad things got. How horrifying are we? So what do we have there? We have the power symbol associated with feminism, pride alliance. All right. Let's take a closer inspection here. What do we have? Awesome. Awesome. Teaching kids it's okay to be awesome. Safe space for all. Who wants a safe space for children? I want a dangerous space for children. Wow. This shit is fucked. I had no idea how bad it's gotten. Oh my god. Oh my god. Pride and a rainbow. Look at all this refracted light. Yeah, it's blinding. Gay.
Well, that's just harmless teaching. This, on the other hand.
You have to build yourself as a man, and if you decide not to build yourself...
I love that every fucking Andrew Tate apologist, and by the way, they're all fucking human trafficking rape apologists at this point, every single one of them is using like a series of clips where it's just like, oh yeah, and apparently this is like the biggest misogynist, most dangerous man, blah blah blah. And here's a clip of it. And he's like, you should be proud. If you be proud, man, yeah. And then it's like, okay, yeah, that one doesn't seem too bad. That's kind of innocuous. That's or he's talking about masculinity, or he's talking about making money and being successful. This doesn't seem too bad. It's never the like, I had sex with a 16-year-old and I did that as an adult, and also while I was doing it I was looking at that person's Facebook and blah blah blah, like all this other weird shit. Never the like the secret recorded phone calls of Andrew Tate that have just been released where he's just straight up saying like that he had raped someone violently multiple times. It's never those clips. You don't see those clips. It's always just like, oh yeah, look, inspirational.
Then your life's gonna suck.
That's dangerous brainwashing and radicalization. The only thing teachers should be doing is teaching actual subjects. Maths, geography, chemistry. What are they actually doing as part of this re-education of young men? Literally telling them the phrases man up and be a man shouldn't.
So this video, if it had come out, like I want to say 5 or 6 months ago, like it would have made a lot of sense. It would have been like, okay, so Andrew Tate is starting to get canceled. All these social media companies are starting to drop him. It really seems like his messaging is like pissing off the libs. Let's come up with this video where it's like in defense of Andrew Tate. Not at this point. Like at this point, again, hitching yourself to this wagon where it's just like thing after thing after, there's now testimony coming out that the Tate brothers bragged about having sex with 16-year-olds. There may be as many as 6 victims who may have been human trafficked by the two of them. He is on camera admitting to having sex with a 16-year-old. He is on camera admitting to violently raping someone. He is on camera, on audio recording admitting to violently strangling someone. At this point, it's like, oh, yikes. Like you wouldn't at this point become a Harvey Weinstein defender, out of nowhere, just out of the blue. She's like, well, I think he's misunderstood. It's kind of curious just why every single person has the same story. Maybe they were coached. I don't know.
This isn't hyperbole. They had an entire assembly geared towards the unlearning of Andrew Tate's supposedly dangerous, radicalizing rhetoric, and said man up and be a man were part of toxic masculinity. What? You're literally treating the use of the word man as a form of toxic masculinity. You're literally telling them to be ashamed of their innate biological reality. Then you wonder why these young men resonate more with the behavior of someone like Andrew Tate.
Happiness is the number one thing that must...
It's not an innate biological reality for men to commit acts of violence towards women. It's not like it's programmed within each and every one of us, and it's only the Bible that keeps that in check.
And I'll tell you that my happiness is based on very real world achievements. I couldn't be happy if I was broke. I couldn't be happy if I was obese. I couldn't be happy if I was lonely. I couldn't be happy if I wasn't respected. I couldn't be happy if I couldn't whoop a dude's ass. I couldn't be happy in those scenarios, so I made sure none of them scenarios came true.
A female teacher at another school said that some pupils were giving up on studying for exams, feeling that they no longer needed education to thrive. The pupils always ended up saying, I can get rich on the internet, that's what Andrew Tate did. But what good is education for young men nowadays, especially young white men, preparing them for the illustrious career of being a lifetime wagey at McDonald's?
Damn, I hate this job.
Preparing them for...
Yeah, but I mean, maybe your problem there is the economic system that perpetuates that. Why would so many people have to go into fast food work, and why would you diminish that too, right? Like, those are all things that might be bigger questions, maybe more important ones.
The glorious day in about 25 years' time, where they just might be able to afford a 10% deposit to get a giant mortgage on a tiny 2-bedroom apartment. The economic system has failed them. The education system has failed them. For years, long before Andrew Tate flexed his supercar collection. In the UK, the number of white boys getting on degree courses has fallen by 7% in just 10 years. Working class white boys are the most likely to fail in school compared to any other race. In the US, 2/3 of the students in the top 10%.
Okay, if this is all 100% true, no one on the left is saying these are good things. I don't think that there should be representation of large percentages of young boys having a hard time, regardless if they are white, black. That doesn't matter to me. The larger question and or problem doesn't go down to their race or the treatment of men or the loss of masculinity.
Of the class at high school are girls. Maybe if you spent more time actually educating and not brainwashing young men, more time giving them confidence instead of ramming identity politics.
You just showed a video footage of them doing things like take pride in yourself. You can also take pride in yourself if you happen to be cis and straight. There's nothing wrong with pride, being pride and proud of who you are.
Politics down their throats. Instead of ordering them to feel sheepish and contrite about being male, instead of re-educating and browbeating them for quoting Andrew Tate videos, they wouldn't be failing.
By the way, oh God, it's only been 3 minutes. Paul Joseph Watson really falls into that recent video by That Dang Dad's description of when there are categories of people who start to lose, perhaps mildly, or even have their positions of power threatened. It's the Paul Joseph Watsons of the world. They see that as an attack on them rather than other people gaining some equality. Right? Because your superiority comes at the cost of other people. So if other groups start to gain a little bit more equality, like that's why there was such a massive pushback from feminism and the feminist movement from, its inception until still. That's why there is still a pushback against that. Like, oh, I fucking hate feminists, or I hate all these, it's basically ugly women who can't get laid, and they're all angry all the time, and they're all saying, oh, we want rights, we want to have bodily autonomy, it's so annoying. You feel as if it's like an attack on you. You feel as if they're going after us now. Now it's not okay to be a man. Now it's not okay to be this. Now it's okay. Now everything is evil, apparently, especially if you're a white man. Then you're the most evil member of society.
at school and they resonate more with you than him.
When you were at home, you were the man of
Equality
the
seems
house.
like
And
injustice,
when you
exactly.
weren't home, your wife adopted your mindset and she was the woman of the house, and the children spent a lot of time around you listening to you and how you think and how you feel. But now we have two parents, both have to go to work. The kids are left on their own, either watching YouTube and all its bullshit or going to school and all its bullshit.
You wouldn't exist were it not for that bullshit you're decrying. The very thing that props up my entire empire. Yeah, bullshit. We need to get rid of it all.
Like, a lot of parents have very little influence over their children anymore. The Matrix has influence over their children. The Matrix is
we made it, what, like 3 minutes into an Andrew Tate video before hearing about the Matrix?
raising them.
Save me the sanctimonious crap about Andrew Tate being responsible for radicalizing a generation of young men. It wasn't
What? No one's saying an entire generation. He's not the sole contributor to this. He's not even the cause of any of this. Like, he is definitely 100% a symptom. He's an accelerationist to a lot of it. And certainly Andrew Tate and Andrew Tate alone is not responsible. A lot of this has to do with algorithms and the way social media works and the way this proliferates. And when you make misogyny a commodity, as fucking Andrew Tate certainly has, yeah, guess what? That shit fucking sells. There is a large market for that because, yeah, young boys, young men, they are being left behind in the conversation. It is certainly 100% a problem, and as a result of that, people fill in the gaps, like the Andrew Tates, who sell them on a lie, and it is 100% a lie, that it's women who are causing this, that it's fucking external, the elites, the Matrix, it's doing it to us bros, they're controlling us, blah, 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 buy my course, get happy, give me money to be happy, pay me.
Andrew Tate who triggered the crisis of masculinity. It wasn't Andrew Tate who removed healthy masculine role models from society. It wasn't Andrew Tate who...
He is the furthest thing from healthy. It's like, I've said this before, pick any object in your vicinity, look around your room right now, look around wherever you are, even if you're outside, any inanimate object you see would be a better masculine role model than Andrew Tate. Literally anything. Anything around you, anything, your clothing, my headphones, anything. Any single thing would be, even if it was just in the room present, you know? I mean, it's not great. I'm not saying that's a good substitute for some kind of a masculine role model. There should be better than just a microphone, inanimate objects, but those would still be better than Andrew Tate. The net effect that my microphone would have in a room, being a tutor, would be better than whatever Andrew Tate would be.
Taught young men to be broken, apologetic, spineless and hopeless. Andrew Tate didn't just appear out of a vacuum. He's a symptom of a culture that vilifies men. A culture that you created. Observe the immediate innate reactions people give when asked what women are good for compared to what men are good for.
What are women good for?
Everything. Everything.
What's a woman good for?
Literally everything.
What are women good for?
They're good for everything.
What?
Again, okay, this is a fair answers. It's a weird question. It's a very strange, like, it's a loaded question, you know? Like, what are men good for? Well, what am I supposed to say here? You're kind of putting me on the spot. It's like, what's your angle?
What are men good for?
Nothing.
What's a men good for?
What are men good for? Oh, not a lot, I don't think.
What's a men good for?
Oh God, I have literally no...
What are men good for? Do you think men are important in society?
So, if you think this little cross-section is indicative of just reality, so you are now witnessing just the way the world works, versus if you're looking and filming people on the street and they're asking something, and again, we do live in a society, TM, so are people on the street, when asked, knowing they're being filmed somewhere, this is going to be published, going to reinforce stereotypes out loud? Are they going to be like, women be shopping, or something like that? Or are they on the spot going to answer in the way they want to be seen later on TV or wherever this is being broadcast? I'm not familiar with the show. Anonymous Daniels donated $50. They said, dude, you taught me so much with this. $50, holy shit, that's so nice. With this unique brand of humor, learning about leftism while working for an evil multinational too desperate to fire a bisexual Bernie bro. Damn, thank you, Anonymous Daniel. I really appreciate that. That's very generous of you. But I agree with the rest of chat. This is sad. Absolutely 100%. In kind of like in both directions. I understand why, if asked, you'd be like, what are women good for? And what's the answer going to be that isn't negative if it's not like everything? Like you're saying as a generality, as a totality, what is blank good for, right? And then this whole clip, I think, is just reinforcing that kind of liberal performative, men have destroyed everything in the world, we start all the wars, and so we're the worst kind of stuff on camera.
Well,
this one was a dumbass. She's conservative, who's made appearances on GB News. It feels like one of those shows because it's a very loaded question. Again, if you walked up to someone on the street, not with a microphone, and like, hey, I want your opinion. Okay. What are women good for? Outside of the answer of everything, anything would be kind of hyper specific, right? Because it would just mean that if you're good at one thing, you're bad at everything else. If I said dancing, that'd be like, oh, what? So they're not good at calculus? Are you saying they're not good at STEM? Not good at physics? Didn't know you were a woman hater and beater, but that's basically what you've just admitted to.
I guess,
It's sad that the question of are men important can't be answered with a simple yes. What message does this send to young boys when society says they're good at nothing? Observe how young men...
But again, that's not society. That's a show that has been designed and edited to get those answers. You have to understand, this is a magic trick, okay? If I went on the street and I interviewed 50 people, I had a narrative. At the end of this, I want to get 5 or 6 key interviews that have people saying the thing I want them to say, to be able to make a video on this and make people get scared when they watch it to think, oh, whoa, that's broadly speaking all of society. That's what that is. It's nothing more than a magic trick. It's the same as street magic. It's David Blaine shit, the guy who like walks in hot dogs. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. But that's what's going on there.
And are portrayed on television. One of the UK's most watched TV soaps,
Mind Freak, that's what it was.
Millions of viewers a week, is running a storyline where the young man concerned about his country, his identity, his role in society, tries to set off a truck bomb. Then another character who dares to suggest that young men are genuinely feeling this sense of disenfranchisement is similarly dismissed as a nutter.
Our country's under attack. Like the fact that people are trying to take away what it means to be British. There were more morals then. There were more opportunities for people like me.
People like you? Like what? Like white, you mean? Is that what you mean? Max, this...
That kind of seems like it's trying to be representational of a broadly speaking about a problem with far-right radicalization in Britain and the idea of, keeping Britain for the British. What is the British national identity, if not, again, a series of white conquests?
This is wrong.
Neshto, CA, thank you for the
very
prime.
real sense of disillusionment that young men in the West are feeling by blaming it all on Andrew friggin'
No, because of assholes like you, because you're continuously screaming the shit. If all day you're like, all countries under attack, we can't even be white anymore, all male. Like, obviously people who are watching that are gonna be like, whoa, what? I didn't know that. I was just buying some fucking strawberries.
It existed long before him and will continue to exist no matter if you lock him up and throw away the key. Andrew Tate isn't the source of the problem. The disparagement of masculinity and the othering and debasement of young men.
That's the only thing he's been right about. He's not the source of the problem. He's certainly, again, an accelerant and a dangerous one. That's not saying that you should just allow people who are, again, these massive thought leaders who are basically reinforcing the most horrifying aspects of society while potentially profiting off human trafficking to continue to be able to do what they do. Like, that's not that. God, this is still 5. This is so hard to get. Okay, he's going through Andrew Tate now. Let's hear a little.
The majority of them being right wing, making it a blind spot for the left. Let's look into the full coverage on the Ground News website. On the right here, we get a visual breakdown of the biased distribution of sources covering this particular story. An ownership chart showing which entities own the source and the factuality rating of each source. My favourite feature is that Ground News 15 to 24-year-old Americans. The highest suicide rates per 100,000 in the US are among white males. None of that's Andrew Tate's fault, is it? Whatever the Matrix has done to young men, it's clearly not helping young men.
You look lonely. I can fix that.
Again, this whole narrative, it's a multifaceted problem, and it's one in which, yes, no one should be ignoring the crises facing young men, and it is multifaceted. And unfortunately, it is made way worse by people like Paul Joseph Watson and Andrew Tate. They make all this shit infinitely worse because they keep making them think that they are under attack for reasons that they aren't. if other people are achieving even slight or modicum amounts of equality or small amounts or even baby steps in society, that doesn't mean that there is an attack and like an active attack going on against white males, specifically young white boys. There is a concerned effort to make sure that they are destroyed, eradicated, replaced, all these kind of things. None whatsoever. And the same problems that are facing white people, which yes, there is a lot of white people, especially in America, those problems that is facing young white men are a lot of similar problems that are facing everybody in society who are suffering under capitalism. There is obviously intersectional vectors that cross over, but there's no question that there's things that are definitely making their lives harder, and there's other things that are changing, broadly speaking, in society. That is not to say that you should ignore those problems, but the solution to it is not to go down this road where it's like, hey, yeah, we have the answer, and those answers are going to make you infinitely more miserable. If you go down that Andrew Tate road, or you know friends who go down that Andrew Tate road, or you know family who goes down that Andrew Tate road, or any of the others, by the way, Andrew Tate is not unique in this. Fresh and Fit, you name it, even fucking Paul Joseph Watson, any corner of the internet where they're reinforcing this idea is going to make them more miserable, more unhappy, and worse people, in that they will have a harder time because people will not want to interact or deal with them. Because broadly speaking, no, like half the population doesn't want to be around dudes who are being these weird, I think I'm a Sigma Alpha fucking, wolf, blah, 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 here I come. No one wants to be around that. It's like deeply, deeply unpleasant. And so obviously those people are going to continue to have more difficulty as they go down that, where it's like, my worth as a man can only be determined by my alpha dog sigma status.
And then you wonder why they turn to someone who's offering a different message. When I was growing up, we had positive male role models. They were promoted by the culture. Batman was a kick-ass, upstanding, crime-fighting superhero. What's Batman now? A self-doubting, depressed emo kid trapped in a man's body? Who were the positive male role models?
Trapped in a man's body. Well, wait, which is
for young men now, and what lessons are they dispensing? None whatsoever. They've all been unceremoniously airbrushed out of our culture. We've come a long way from say your prayers and eat your vitamins.
Train, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, be true to yourself.
Who are the heroes now? People who slavishly
I'm sorry, did wrestling go away? And if wrestling went away, which I didn't know that, but are there no longer macho-esque wrestling characters? Not a single one? So wrestling now is just like an entire league of very effeminate men, cat boys, femboys, you name it, every single kind. It's just a wonderful bouquet of all of them. Is that what's going down? Because normally when I see pictures of the wrestling, still looks like there's some pretty monstrously beefy dudes going at it, one-on-one.
Regurgitate the message in the most supine way. Who else are young men going to turn to? The church? Yeah, good luck with that when you forcibly
a boy trapped in a man's body, the Paul Joseph Watson story. Doge, 10 G's, you're the one good Doge.
Remove heroes from society. People are going to create anti-heroes. I mean, they said Jordan Peterson was dangerously radicalizing young men, and he couldn't be any more different to Andrew Tate.
Your life is how you treat each other over the breakfast table.
Bit of a theme emerging here, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, holy shit. There could be more than one thing? Just in discourse, human existence, numerology, we can iterate, we can go. Oh, I didn't know. Is there a name for that logical fallacy where it's just like there can literally only be one version of one thing? Is that like a hyper no true Scotsman, like the opposite of that? I don't even know. Okay, I can't listen to his face anymore, but the reason I was even listening to his face in the first time, this may be the retirement of Paul Joseph Watson in terms of we never have to watch him again. We can be done with him, because I'm learning from the Brits in chat that he's not even like much of a threat in Britain, let alone like he's barely a footnote these days in the griftosphere. But anyways, let me find a different freeze frame. I can't show you the video. I'm going to show you a freeze frame of it, but I can't show you the video because it does have nudity in it, and that of course would get me in trouble on the Twitch. But Paul Joseph Watson has tweeted out, "The crisis of young men and masculinity won't disappear with the incarceration of Andrew Tate." And here comes Punish Mother with, I don't even know where you found this clip from. How are you going to talk about degenerate empty sex when you love cam girls, call them trash, and asks what's the most extreme physical thing you can watch them do? You're such a grifter. I didn't know this clip existed. But we will play a little bit of it off stream, obviously. So It's just, I'll try to find the same face that he's making in the clip so you can get a visual image. Yeah, that's about it.
This bitch next to you, she's not attractive. I'm sure she's a nice girl, but she's not hot.
So in this clip, Paul Joseph Watson is watching what I could describe certainly as a pair of naked women, and he's holding a phone. He's also wearing gloves for some reason, which whatever, you do you. And yeah, that's what's happening in the scene.
She's rubbish. I mean, what can you get away with? Like, what is the most extreme physical act that you can perform?
Now, while he's saying that, they seem to be what I could describe as almost pleasuring themselves for him on the screen.
What, during coronavirus?
Like, just us. Or like just me on the bed by myself, or like
yeah.
Together.
This bitch.
So, yeah. Mr. Degenerate Downfall of Society, it seems that we've all been emasculated because of our uncontrollable thirst for fapping, and everyone is a coomster and can't control themselves, and the loss of semen is definitely contributing to the downfall of society in whole, and there are no more male masculine role models, and that's why I'm really going to vouch right now for the avowed rapist / pedophile known as Andrew Tate. Paul Joseph Watson actually may enjoy himself the odd secular flesh or two, you know? Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demmel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tao, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojack, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.